Okay, yep.
Well, we're going to talk about weight control. It's a big subject. It's one of our biggest problems in the United States. Now, since we've done a pretty good job of putting down smoking, the next biggest things are weight control and hypertension. Those are the two next big things. And diabetes comes in with that too, of course. All those things are big things we got to do something about. Now, we talked about fat. We said limit saturated fat. We didn't say limit all fat. We said saturated fat. Okay? And I have here some reasons why we shouldn't limit all fats. And I want to give you about 5 reasons on this. Let's see, where is it? There's about 5 reasons why we need some fat. We need it for nutrient absorption. You have fat-soluble vitamins. You have to have fat for them to be absorbed. So that's one reason why we need fat. There are certain of the fatty acids that you have to live. If you don't have them, you'll die. And the body doesn't make them. Linoleic acid and alpha-linolenic acid. So that's another reason why you need some fat in the diet. You need enough fat to get the triglyceride, which is the technical word for fat, the right size. If it's too big or if it's too small, you have more heart disease. If it's too small, you have 7 times more heart disease. We used to check the fat size. We don't do that anymore because we can tell by the triglyceride what it is, okay? You need it for the baby to get the retina developing properly, nerve development. So there's reasons why you have to have fat. Let's see if there's one more. Fish is where you get long-chain fatty acids. It's supposed to be good for you in developing the retina. But Dr. Gary Fraser, who did the Loma Linda Health Study, took a group of nurses, about 6 of them, 8 of them, stuck a needle in the buttocks, pulled out a fat globule, analyzed it. Now they're total vegetarians, don't eat any fish, and fish is where you're supposed to get this from. They didn't eat any fish, and they had more than the general population had. Where did it come from? We don't know. Maybe some unusual soy product they're eating or something. We don't know where it's coming from. Okay, but you have to have some fat. But it's the essential fatty acid you have to have particularly, okay? Now, weight control. Let's see if I can move this here. Deuteronomy says, a rebellious son that is a glutton is to be stoned to death. Now, if we did that, we wouldn't have many fat people around, would we? Luke 21:34 says, it warns against surfeiting, which means overeating, intemperance, any kind, but we think of overeating primarily. Now, the assignment for this session right here is how do you determine if you're overweight? Scientifically. I gave you some ideas yesterday. You know, if you stand on the scales, needle goes out of sight. Means you're too fat. We have seen a few of those, but I'm going to give you the scientific basis. It's really based on the body mass index. And you kids can all calculate this out. Your assignment tonight is to calculate what your BMI is. That tells you whether you're overweight, underweight, or whatever. Now, for children under 18 years of age, they don't use that. They just take what other kids are and where are they in comparison to other kids. But for adults, this is what you do. You check the BMI. And now, the easiest way is the British system. But the American system uses pounds instead of kilograms. The British system, it's kilograms divided by your height in centimeters squared, multiplied by itself. But here it is now in the American system. BMI is your weight in pounds times 704, maybe they're using 705 now, I think, divided by your height in inches squared. That means height in inches multiplied by itself. So I want you to figure this out. Do you have pencil? Can you figure this out? All right. Figure it out. What is your weight in pounds? I want to get some numbers from you people here. What is your weight in pounds times 705? Use 705 rather than 4. I think more people are using that now. 705. Weight in pounds times 705. Then we'd want to take your inches in height and multiply it by itself. Then take that number, divide it into the top number. Now, this you need to remember, and you won't remember, so we're giving you a handout with it on. Marcus, I'll let you hand out these sheets to everybody. I want the kids to figure this out. They'll enjoy this. Now, the easiest way to tell if you're overweight is to put a tape measure around your waist, at your belly button. Should not be more than 35 inches for women and 40 inches for men. That's on the sheet. Okay, that's simple. But have any of you figured your BMI out yet? Maybe, Marcus, you could help some of them do it. Figure this out. I think you need to know how to do this. It's important. How to figure out the BMI. See if they're getting it.
Anyone need a calculator? I have one on my phone. I can run some numbers. Some of them might want to keep it private, too. They may not know.
Well, I'm not asking them to tell anybody yet. I just want them to be able to calculate this out, know how to do it. This number should come out under 25. That's normal. It goes down to 18 and a half being normal, except for the Indians over in India. They're so skinny, they let them go down to 18. No, they call that normal. And below that's underweight. Okay. Yeah. And if it's 30, you're obese. Grade 1. If you get up to grade 2 or 3, then you need surgery. But we need to figure out what your BMI is. And in our weight control programs, I've done 200 people at one time. And we try to figure out what their BMI is and see in the 6-week period if we can lower it any. Did you get it? You're working on it?
Yeah, it's 6 1 misnumbered.
Usually in our weight control program, we have scales with a minister behind the scales to make sure you're giving an honest weight. Does anybody have a number yet?
21.4.
What?
21.4, says Mike.
What's that?
Mike's 21.4.
21.4? That is good. Anything under 25 is good. Actually, 22 to 23 is ideal. BMI. If you're 25, you're called overweight. She's not going to be overweight. What's your BMI? Huh?
Yes, she needs to measure her waist.
What?
She said she needs to measure her waist.
Measure her waist? Well, that's a good way to do it too, but BMI is...
I can look at her, so she doesn't have to worry. You just relax.
BMI is the most accurate way that we have. If you get fat around your abdomen, that's where the fat cells are dangerous. That's the ones that cause hypertension, being fat around the waist. So for hypertensive, they need to get that waist slimmer to get the fat cells out of that area, okay? Now, it's been known from research many years ago that when a high caloric density food, that is one that is more concentrated per unit volume, is used, one consumes many more calories than he would when eating an even larger volume of low calorie density foods. Now, what's high density calorie foods? Meat. Anything with a lot of fat in it. Avocado is going to be fairly high. Anything with a lot of fat is going to be high calorie density food. Processed foods are the ones that are high density. A study showed consumption of more fruits and vegetables is related to lower body weight. Increasing fruit and vegetable consumption as a substitute for energy-dense foods may be a strategy for treating certain obese adolescents. Okay? Now, there's different ways to treat obesity. One is behavioral change techniques. Did you know that overweight people tend to feel hungry when the clock says 12 o'clock if they're used to eating a noon meal at 12 o'clock? They put a bunch of overweight people and underweight people in rooms where they had the clocks going 1 hour too fast or 1 hour too slow. And when the clock said 12 o'clock, those people who were used to eating dinner at 12 o'clock were hungry. They had to eat. Whereas the normal weight people said, no, my stomach isn't telling me it's time to eat yet. Now, these people who are overweight are controlled by what they see. If you walk to work, you're overweight, you walk to work past a donut shop, the donut talks to you. The donut says, hey, you always get your donut here. It's ready. I'll have it right here now. Come on in like you usually do and get it. And you go and do it. For example, overweight person comes home from work after his evening meal. He sits in the lounge chair in front of the TV. It's right next to the kitchen. And he hears the nuts talking to him from the kitchen. Say, you always get them. I have them here ready for you. They're right here on the shelf. You know where they are. You always come and get them. And you get out of your chair and you go into the kitchen and get the peanuts. It's interesting how these foods talk to you. These overweight people are controlled by what they see. Whereas normal weight people aren't so much controlled that way. Okay? An analysis of intervention trials find that fat-reduced diets cause a larger weight loss than normal fat diets. So it's the fat, really, we're trying to get rid of. Remember, not all fats. It's saturated fat we want to get rid of. Remember that sheet I gave you? With those 5 foods at the bottom? That's what we want to get rid of. Numerous studies have shown that body fat is positively associated with dietary fat intake. Dr. Will at Harvard, he disagrees with that. He's our top nutritionist in the country. Most successful weight loss people were those who reduced fat intake. Energy balance is 2 times as high on a high fat versus high carbohydrate diet. The original diet in the Bible was fruits, grains, nuts, vegetables. Carbohydrate more than fat was the main part of the diet, what it should be. Okay? When going from 42% of your calories as fat in your diet down to 22%, many of those individuals who usually have a low-density lipoprotein, predominantly of the large, light, buoyant type, switch to the small, dense type as patients with diabetes have. So you have to be careful. If you cut down a lot of fat, too much, you're going to cause some problems. When reducing fat consumption from 20% to 10% of the calories, 1/3 switch from the large, light, buoyant type to the small, dense type of LDL particles. See, if you have small, dense type or large, dense type, makes a difference in your heart attack rate. Quite a bit. So you have to be careful on this switching. You have to do it gradually. An additional 14 grams per day of fiber for more than 2 days is associated with a 10% decrease in energy intake and body weight loss of 1.9 kilograms over 3.8 months. Average U.S. intake of fiber is about 15 grams, or about half of what's recommended. Americans are not eating enough fiber. Now, you might be getting too much sometimes with your problems you have. But fiber, we should get at least 30 grams a day. Most of us are getting only 15 grams a day. Now, what foods don't have any fiber? So the way to get more fiber is get rid of the food that doesn't have any. What foods have no fiber at all? Meat, milk, eggs, cheese, sugar, oil, no fat at all. So you got to get, no fiber at all. So you got to get rid of those kind of foods and eat more of the things that have the fiber, the whole grains, see, things like that. Low fiber intake predicts weight gain. Use whole grains and beans to get your fiber. Beans has the most. A cup of cooked lentils provides 15 grams of fiber. That's very good in fiber. A study in the United Kingdom showed that over time, weight gain was less with the fewer animal products in the diet. All kinds of studies show this. Vegetarian women are about half as likely to be overweight or obese as those who eat meat, according to a study of 55,000 healthy middle-aged Swedish women. All kinds of studies like this. Fiber equivalents. 40 slices of white bread is equivalent to about 5 of whole wheat bread. I used to take some of this Wonder Bread. Have you seen Wonder Bread? And I'll squeeze it like this, all the air out of it. You don't see much of anything left. Wonder Bread, you wonder where it is. It's gone. So 5 cups of cornflakes is like 2 shredded wheat biscuits in fiber content. 6 cups of orange juice is like 1 orange. You need fiber in the diet. We're getting only about 15 grams a day. We need at least twice that. And diabetics need maybe 3 times that. Okay? Snacks. No snacks. It's called the pause that refreshes. Bigger snacks, bigger slacks. You got that? In a study of 8,493 persons, 19 to 29 years old, snacking prevalence increased from 77 to 84% between 1977 and 1978 to 1994 to 1996. The nutritional contribution of snacks to total daily energy intake went from 20 to 23%, primarily because energy consumed per snacking occasion increased by 25%, and the number of snacks per day increased by 14%. Snacks are being made with more calories than they used to be. And people are eating more snacks than they used to. Caloric density of the snacks increased from 1.05 to 1.32 calories. Sweetened and alcoholic beverages were important contributors to this problem too. Whole fruits rather than fruit juice. I don't know if you realize it, but nutritionists today are not recommending fruit juice. They're recommending whole fruit. Whole fruits rather than fruit juice. Whole grain foods. Look at this. 1 apple is 70 calories. Cup of apple juice is 120 calories. 1 cup of sweetened applesauce is 230. A cup of apple brown Betty, 345. Slice of apple pie, 350. Or a slice of bread is 60 calories. Cookie, 120. 1 piece of pound cake, 140. Plain cake without icing, 200. With icing, 370. Chocolate cake with chocolate icing, 445 calories a slice. See what's happening with our processing of food? Okay. Major factors that appear to keep those who have lost weight from regaining it are 2: exercise and eating breakfast regularly. In a July 2005 study of about 4,000 people who've achieved lasting weight loss, researchers from Brown Medical School found that 78% ate breakfast daily. An earlier study from the University of Massachusetts found those who usually skip breakfast had 4 times the risk of being obese. Breakfast is the main meal of the day. So people ask me, what do you eat the second meal? I said, breakfast should be the best meal of the day, so good that I eat it sometimes twice a day. So breakfast is supposed to be good. Let's see. Irregular meal eating patterns and omitting breakfast tend to weight gain and lipid abnormalities. Less than 4% are maintaining their weight loss without eating breakfast. They just gain the fat back. Eating breakfast daily is a characteristic of successful long-term weight loss. Weight loss was greater in a study of women with large morning meals rather than large evening meals. Do you eat more in the morning or more in the evening? We should be eating in the morning more. That should be the biggest meal of the day. Weight reducers often skip breakfast, but those eating breakfast regularly are more apt to keep from regaining the lost weight. A program for fasting every other day was effective in losing weight, although it resulted in crankiness. But have you heard of the 2-meal-a-day program? Ellen White recommended Adventist. Do 2 meals a day. Eat morning meal, a noon meal, eat nothing after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's what dietitians are saying to do now in the United States. Many of them are saying that. Don't eat after 2 o'clock. You only have time for 2 meals. Okay. Weight loss was greater in a study of women with large morning meals rather than large evening meals. Weight reducers often skip breakfast, but those eating breakfast regularly are more apt to keep from regaining the lost weight. A program for fasting every other day was effective in losing weight, although it resulted in crankiness, okay? Let's see. A large meal versus many small meals of equal caloric content produces a greater thermogenic response. This means eating a few large meals could make a 48-calorie difference daily as compared to many small meals. Thus, the many small meals tend to increase one's weight. Some people have been saying 6 meals a day, small meal, is better. It's not, according to the scientific study. Okay? The Beverage Guidance Panel has said the best beverage you could have between meals is water. That's the best beverage. I hate to tell you what the second best beverage that they listed was. They listed coffee, but they're wrong. The dietitians are all written into them. There's wrong. There's no benefit from coffee. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Although no scientific studies have been done on this point I'm going to mention, it's been observed that persons often continue to eat when really not hungry, but they're thirsty. It is suggested by those professionals providing weight control advice that drinking water a half hour before a meal would reduce that risk of overeating. Some people overeat because they're thirsty. A study of over 4,700 individuals showed water users consume less soft drinks and 194 fewer calories every day and have a healthier diet. high water consumption is good. Soft drinks. Sugar-sweetened beverages promote weight gain, and replacement of energy from fat by sugar-sweetened beverages is counterproductive in diets aimed at weight loss. More energy can be adjusted per minute when apple juice is consumed than when apples are eaten. You got that? Why the nutritionists are not recommending juices anymore? They're saying go to the whole fruit. Over the past several decades, levels of overweight and obesity have increased across all population groups in the U.S. Concurrently, an increased daily intake of 150 to 300 calories has occurred, with approximately 50% of the increased calories coming from consumption of calorically sweetened beverages. This is sweetened beverages is a problem for weight control. 67% of Americans eat everything on their plate. We were taught as kids, eat it up. Remember the poor kids in China that don't have enough to eat? Now, how are you going to send yours to China? But that's what they used to always tell me as little kids. 67% of Americans eat everything on their plate, no matter what the portion size. 30% of the time Americans dine out. Restaurants vie for often generous portions. In the U.S. versus Europe, 25% of Americans are obese, 7% of Europeans. Serving of French fries, we have 7-ounce servings. They have 5.5-ounce servings. Croissant, our croissants are 4 ounces. Theirs are 2 ounces. Steak, here in this country, you can get a 20-ounce steak. In England, it's 8 ounces. We're serving bigger foods, larger foods. Now, this has to do with plate size. We have large plates. You're supposed to get all your plates together, give them to the Goodwill, and buy a set of small plates. That's what you're supposed to do. Kids 7 to 17 consume twice as many calories when they eat at restaurants than at home. Such meals, besides resulting in obesity, provide more saturated fat. So kids are going out to eat more. There's a wider variety to choose from. An important nutritional principle to ensure getting adequate nutrition is to consume a variety of different foods over a period of time. A large variety at one meal is not to be recommended, however, as it may result in excessive intake. There should not be a great variety at any one meal, for this encourages overeating, Ellen White tells us. 39 studies reviewed show consumption of food increases when there is more variety in a meal. And this is associated with greater body weight and fat. Dr. Kellogg, Professor Kress, these people were getting fat. Ellen White says, you're eating too much. Some people always been promoting the low carbohydrate diet. It's not right. It's not right. It produces greater weight loss the first 6 months, but by the end of 1 year, there was no difference, okay? Weight loss from the high protein diets occurs primarily because one consumes less calories. A major reason for weight loss was because of increased water loss in these high protein foods. So here's a summary of the best foods for keeping your weight down. Your green cruciferous vegetables, vegetarian foods, fruits, especially whole fruit, whole grain products rather than refined. Get adequate water between meals while avoiding meat and soft drinks. If milk is used, it should be non-fat or low-fat.
You gotta tell them what cruciferous vegetables are.
What's that?
You want to tell them what cruciferous vegetables are?
I didn't get your word.
They may not know what cruciferous vegetables are.
Cruciferous, the greens, cabbage,
Broccoli,
broccoli,
cauliflower.
all those cruciferous. They're supposed to be especially good for you, okay? Those are low-calorie density foods. Obese individuals with at least moderate cardiorespiratory fitness have about half the rates of cardiovascular disease or all-cause mortality as normal weight but unfit peers. There was a guy who was exercise specialist. He just died about a year ago. I used to contact him. He was short, fat, but he's an exercise specialist. But he was plump. But he said, look, it's not so much what your weight is, it's how much exercise you're doing. And I think there's some truth to that. Most studies show obesity does not appear to increase mortality very much when data is adjusted for cardiorespiratory fitness. That's what Stephen Blair said, the short, plump man. Approximately 46% of adults aged 50 or older engage in no leisure time activity. So exercise is extremely important. Fit persons with any combination of smoking, elevated blood pressure, or elevated cholesterol levels had lower adjusted death rates than low-fit persons with none of these characteristics. Exercise is extremely important. Now, behavioral change techniques. Set your goals. Break them down into small steps. You got to get new friends. You got to get rid of the little fatties that were friends of yours. And you got to get friends that are skinny. Okay? Identify external cues which trigger your eating, such as moving the soft chair in front of the TV where you always snack to another location. Break an early link in the chain of events leading to eating when you don't want to eat. You can change only through new habits. It takes 28 days to break a habit. Eat at only one location in the house. Plan in advance each day, and at the end of the day, review to see how you did. That's the end. Now, you know, men lose weight much faster than women. I'm going to give you a little thing on this, if I can find it. Here it is. Why men lose weight faster than women? Men have more muscle tissue than women. Muscle has a higher metabolic activity rate. Fat is less. Women tend to put on fat. Men tend to put on muscle. Every weight control program I've had, the women challenge the men. We'll lose weight faster than you do. They're crazy. They shouldn't do that. They can't. Men have a basal metabolic rate that is 6 to 7% higher than that of women. Their BMR, basal metabolic activity, is just faster. Men are taller and heavier with larger bones than women. Therefore, they have greater energy expenditure than women for any given activity. Men can lose weight twice as fast as women on the very same diet and with the same amount of exercise. A man can lose weight on 2,000 calories a day, but a woman has to get down to 1,000 before she begins losing weight. Because men are weight loss occurring sooner, they are more encouraged to stick to the program of proper diet and exercise because it's working. Whereas the women are more apt to see some ad. This is something new here that they're selling. You take this, you'll lose weight real quick. It doesn't work. Because testosterone promotes muscle development. Estrogens help to encourage fat development. Adolescent girls getting estrogen production, preparation for pregnancy, tend to put fat on their body. Boys during adolescence produce more testosterone, which promotes muscle development. Therefore, boys may even get thinner. Estrogen tends to put on more fat than estradiol. During the reproductive years, estradiol is the main female hormone. However, overweight women tend to be producing more estrogen. Men are more realistic about weight loss. They know they must eat right and exercise. Women are more emotional about it. They tend to hate exercise and will do everything possible short of bed rest to avoid it. Men lose weight because they are motivated by the need to be healthy. Women attempt to control their weight more for social reasons, to look more attractive. Men know what they must do to lose weight and do it. Women know more about calories than men do, but they are more prone to try any bizarre diet, even though they don't know deep inside this isn't what they ought to be doing. Men look good with an extra 45 pounds, and no one remarks about it. Women start hearing about it with 10 extra pounds. Children don't like to have a fat mom, but little is said about an overweight dad. Men have the brakes all the way around on all this. Now, are there any questions anybody would like to ask? Marcus here. Take the questions.
Yeah, we'll get you.
I don't need a mic, I got a big mouth.
It's just we're recording it, that's all. We're trying to have it on there. Or else you can ask it and I will repeat it, so it's in there.
He went through all the trouble. No, I was listening to you earlier and about the 2 meals a day. Do you recommend 2 meals a day, or is that optional, or what would be and if so, what time would be best to have those? I know, I heard you said don't eat after 2 o'clock. Is that feasible? Did
Would
he
you
hear me?
repeat what he said?
All right. Basically, I was asking about the 2 meals a day. Is that better than the 3 meals a day? And if so, what time of the day should those meals be consumed?
Ellen White says just 2 meals a day is ideal. I raised my kids on 2 meals a day. It's one reason I didn't send them to school, because they take these first graders, kindergartners, take them out of the class at 11 o'clock in the morning to give them something to eat. And they don't have regular time for eating. So I didn't like that. And so I homeschooled my kids. They didn't get into those problems.
So when should you have those 2 meals?
All right. Ellen White gives us a good idea. She ate 6:30 in the morning, another time 7, another time 7:30. 3 different times. Then for the lunch comes later. 12:30, 1, 1:30. Before 2 o'clock. Present recommendation is eat all your food during the day before 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's what some of the dietitians are recommending now. So that's a good plan, the 2 meal a day program.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Well, sometimes we have to go with the flow.
You gotta go with the flow. Everybody else is eating, you gotta eat too. You gotta go with the flow. Well, I think we can avoid being in the community where the flow is always going the wrong way. I was so skinny when I was at Harvard studying nutrition, studying to be a health educator. I was so skinny. My wife said, John, you can't talk about health. You look too skinny. My mother was so skinny in college. They said she was walking around just to save funeral expenses. But I was skinny. I said to Mom, I'm not ready to do my nutrition education. I'll lose weight, and then I'll get to the proper weight, then I'll start doing it. But I tried at Harvard to gain weight. I was skinny, real skinny. So I tried to gain weight. I loved milk. See, I grew up in China. The only milk we got was skim milk, very little fat in it. Boiled, had to be boiled to clean it up. And I came to the U.S. and milk tasted so good. Full fat. We were traveling east over the Columbia Highway from Portland, going east. We stopped to have the car taken care of, gas and everything. Those days we had service stations. We don't have those anymore. But we used to have service stations. They'd spend half an hour going over your car. And we wandered in one at a time to the next door cafe, to get something to eat. My mother and the oldest brother first. They weren't very hungry. They just asked for a glass of milk. And my next oldest brother comes in. He just asked for 2 glasses of milk. My dad and I came in together, and the waitress came up to us before we even sat down at the table, said, what will you have? I looked at my dad. I said, we'd each like a whole quart of milk. She looked at us and said, where are you people from? We were from China. This milk tasted so good. Well, so while I was at Harvard, I thought I'd gain weight. I must have drunk a gallon of milk every day. I drank a lot of milk. And I was studying cholesterol, by the way, how to educate people on cholesterol. And my weight went up. I came back to medical school at Loma Linda, and Dr. Phil Core, pathologist, examined me. My blood cholesterol was 400, sky high. I was scared to have it taken again. Because if it didn't come down with the program I've been teaching everybody to do, I might as well leave the country and go to Mexico. So I was scared to have it done. But I finally did get it done. And my blood cholesterol came down from 400 to 180. Cutting out the milk, whole milk, cutting out the eggs, cheese. I didn't use a lot of cheese anyway. I never used meat, so that was no problem. But cutting out those high cholesterol foods, my cholesterol came down from 400 to 180. Okay? Yeah.
Do you recommend almond milk over dairy? Do you recommend almond milk over dairy?
Do you recommend almond milk over dairy?
Well, I don't necessarily recommend almond milk. It's okay, almond milk. But cow's milk has something in it none of those other milks have that helps your bones. A lot of people don't know that. But anyway, almond milk's okay. Oat milk, there's all kinds of milks you can have. Milk substitutes. Yeah, it's okay.
He still uses cow's milk, just not the whole milk.
Any other questions? But overweight is one of our biggest nutritional problems in this country. We've got to do something about it, and it only works usually when groups work together to lose. Otherwise, it doesn't work too well. Your friends get changed. You get rid of the old fat friends and you get the skinny friends.
Hopefully the same people that have gone skinny with you, right?
And so your friends get changed, everything gets changed. You're eating different. Was I hungry at night when I gave up the third meal? No. You are maybe for the first week or two, but after that, you're not hungry anymore. It's a habit. We get into these habits of eating. So I like the 2 meal day plan very well. Homeschooling, 2 meals a day, I like it all. It works.
Well, nearly 102, we can see that it works.
But that's where we got to really work on it. To lower our heart attack rate more, we've got to do something about the overweight problem. We got to do something about the blood sugar problem, the glucose level. Those are the two things we've got to do something about.
All right. Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. I hope you found that educational, informational, helpful. I enjoyed all those slides. I was taking in a lot of information, learning stuff myself, which I appreciate. And tomorrow night,
We're going to talk about foods that lower cancer risk.
foods that lower cancer risk. Many people don't realize you can reduce your cancer risk massively by the foods you eat. Tomorrow night, you don't want to miss it. Your doctors aren't going to tell you this very readily, not because they don't know, but necessarily because some of them don't know, but they're too busy doing other stuff. So tomorrow night, foods that can reduce your cancer. What a great thing. You're still eating food, but you're just choosing the ones that are going to reduce your cancer. Cancer is a horrible thing. Well, most all of us here have lost loved ones from cancer, and it's a horrible thing. And you can reduce your own risk and tell other people about it. So tomorrow night, 6:30, we'll start right on time again. So thank you all for coming out tonight. God bless you. Have a great evening, and hope to see you all tomorrow.